What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another video. I appreciate you tuning as always. We had some pretty conflicting price action this past week. Only a couple days of clean trending structure, and I want to dissect this specific Wednesday, which was super choppy, but had some winning ideas in it, some losing ideas as well, and just honestly, it went against probability. So it was an unlikely day that many of these things did happen. So you could have easily found yourself on the wrong side of things. I think it's important not to beat yourself up too much about it because if you played a great probability and it didn't work out, you can still play those probabilities in the future and it probably will work out, right? So let's just get into the charts here. We'll look at some markups, but just first thing, looking at the drawings of the price action. We have a yesterday's New York view up on, which you know for me is key. I don't really want to be trading against it. So there was potential shorts into that level, but if it were to bounce there like it does later on, then I feel pretty silly about selling into it. So yes, it does break below it, but there's just plenty of examples that I want to go over statistically, but let's go over some markups first. Starting off the day, we have the 15-minute on the left side here, looking like we might get a nice pop. The 15 minutes looking like we're holding up more bullish. We're holding above this yesterday's New York pre-market. We're now getting above the daily view up here at the open on this pop. It's a nice 16-point move. A lot of people made money on that on our ASFX TV streams. But after that, where did the trend go? It disappeared. Because if you take a bounce play off of that, we don't have it marked up. If you're looking for a bounce play off New York view up, you don't get the continuation. The trend disappeared. So that would have been a trending move to trade the higher highs, higher lows, try to go get that next higher high, but it doesn't come in because we're no longer having buyers in control. So this was the short I'm talking about. I could shrink it down just a little bit so you guys could see it. But it was really just it won. We just don't need it. We have lower highs and lower lows. If I were to take this lower day break and it bounces off this blue VWAP, would I say that's a great trade, Evan? I'd say looking at the left side of things here, we're holding right here. That's still probably no. Even more so, no. That this could be still the place we build that higher low, big picture, and we find more longs to come in. But definitely can't say this is a great short. If you simplify it and get rid of that yesterday's New York VWAP, which we can't do, but we are clearly below New York VWAP, painting these consistent lower highs below New York here. That yes, sellers are in control, but it's just not continuing trend to the left side of things on this 15-minute. So it's a tough to verify or warrant that short, but it does win. All right, we didn't take that. If you take now the break now below it, I know it's hidden by the camera a little bit, but it's really just a small break of a lower day after a small pullback. And again, the 15 minutes, yes, it's looking maybe a little bit more bearish now, but still big picture. We're bullish on the week. This is a Thursday, actually. I said Wednesday in the beginning of the video. This is on the Thursday, excuse me. But then after that, do you want to take the break of a lower day view up again? After we pull back into the middle of the range, I actually took a short a little bit higher than this, and we'll take a look at that. But if you take the break of a lower day, looking for that continuation play, because maybe the trend is now finally coming in, but we're still into that yesterday's New York view up where we bounced earlier. Yes, we broke it here, but is that looking like inducement now that sellers try to pop us lower, trapped a bunch of shorts, and now we're right back inside that range? So do I want to predict that we're going to be able to break it again? At this point, it's 12 o'clock. We're still playing around this starting price of the day that we haven't left the station and just continued into price discovery. It was a tough short that if we find my short here, doesn't look like my best setup. I posted it in my monthly recap as well. It is a short above the New York VWAP. Not my best play, not the great probabilities either. But I was playing the initial balance double break stats that since we took out the bottom here, we probably don't double break. So I don't expect us to now go up here. Now, the higher it gets above this New York, it's almost like, is this inducing longs to step in because buyers are back in control? So it traps a bunch of longs there, actually comes back down in the way it probably wants to go. Single break that initial balance and come back lower. So since I got such a good price of it, I traded it to that lower day view up, and I'm able to get out just in case it does bounce and stay trapped in the range. I'm already out. I already got my 1 hour. So I got a really good price, great stop loss because honestly, if it does keep drifting higher like this, back inside on the top side of the opening range high, then this short is definitely killed. We're above New York, above opening range high. Maybe we do go double break. But I gave it a shot and it worked out. Now the small little nuances on this as well. I made some videos on ES versus NQ. The left side here is NQ. The right side is ES. So at the time of me taking that short, if you're watching ES, because there's a couple people did get induced into those longs like I'm talking about, ES definitely does look long bias. I mean, that's a strong break above the daily here, right? Maybe buyers are back in control. This is going to be our higher low. Let's go continue higher. I could see that. But checking in on NQ, the same 15-minute candle is actually really holding that daily. It's not really a strong conviction of buyers breaking us through. So I could easily now in my mind say, well, the way that closed, I wouldn't be surprised if NQ now held that daily and came back down. If that came back down, that probably is going to bring ES back down, right? So it keeps me out of the longs because I'm saying both assets don't really have buyers fully in on both. So let me just probably look for more shorts because that's the way like I mentioned, the initial balance stat is saying we probably do continue short rather than higher. So let me look for shorts. So just that small little tip there of how I watch ES versus NQ, even on the 15-minute as well as on the 1 minute, because it has the pretty similar VWAPs as well. The yesterday's New York and this one on NQ actually has all-time high below it. So I could see why you'd want to maybe long it off that because you wouldn't want to short into the all-time high VWAP that was just held. So I understand that, but I think it's just a tough day overall. It was not a money printing machine. This is just to go back to Tuesday of this same week. This is the structure I want to find. This is the structure that makes me my money. This is the structure that's been traded to get me my payouts this month. I took 3 payouts this month. I'm eligible for another one. I have the balance where I want to maybe take one. It's the same size as the last payout I took. But the goal of mine this next coming time was to take a bigger payout. So I'm going to leave it alone and then build a slightly bigger buffer and then take another payout. But regardless, this is the structure that would do it for me. Clean, trending, above all levels. No doubt in my mind I want to long it. Now let me just start thinking about where do I want to long it. So on this one, I'm in and around that New York VWAP with a stop loss below to invalidate those longs. So let it play around with this level as much as it wants because buyers are still going to be in control as long as we're holding those levels. So I get in with a great stop, so this drawdown doesn't even come close to stopping me out. And then buyers do actually take the high day view up, saying that they're fully back in control. So a bunch of people took that trade as well. And that goes well over 1R2, just to continue the clear trend we have. Higher highs and higher lows. Going back to these charts, I mean, we had a potential higher high here at the start of the day, but then lower highs, lower lows. And then is this going to be like the start of a higher high, higher low, higher high up here, right? Are we now turning and turning back? What's going on? We're in the middle of the range. We're holding this yesterday's New York as support, but maybe now we're breaking lower day VWAP or above the new. I mean, there's just a lot going on. I don't want to confuse everybody. That's not that clean. That if you have to even speak about it that much or try to warrant it that much, and we can just go back to the chart here, like I was saying, where's the trend? And I missed this point of the video. I used the initial balance double break stat. Let's draw the initial balance high here to say we probably only single break. That's why I shorted it here down to here. It did, in fact, double break. So although I played the stat and I won, the stat was actually fulfilled later on that it wasn't going to double break. It did, in fact, double break later on in the afternoon. So that was like a 20% day. And realistically, we opened up the day here at 6,093. We ended at 103. So 10 points higher than where we started. But all this nonsense in between of who's going to win. I mean, this giant spike in the MOC. So an ugly day, I think, just going back to the 15-minute here too, you could even say it's just choppy. When it's this choppy on the 15-minute, it's kind of 15 minutes kind of supporting the longs because we're maybe holding this yesterday's New York, higher highs and higher lows since overnight. When the 15 minutes tell me to maybe look for longs, but the 1 minute's kind of saying shorts, that's conflicting. So that's probably not going to have the most favorable odds of clean trend, easy trades. That my best trades would come with higher highs and higher lows on both the 15 and the 1. I know I want to buy it, no doubt in my mind, right? So just simple things like that can just ease you off the gas pedal of saying, you know what? This is not clear. This is confusing. This is gross. There's no clear sellers in control or buyers. So I'm just going to take nothing because this isn't what's been getting me my payouts. If I could just survive, right? Imagine you burn yourself out on a day like this, lose your account, over risk, max daily loss, and the next day looks like this. Boom, you're not able to capitalize on it because you got no more account. Or maybe you're now back in a combine stage. So rather than just surviving, let's say you lost 500 yesterday, and then you take this trade the next day to make 500 as well, you're break even. Or if you could have just sat on your hands yesterday through that chop, take this trade for 500, you're up 500 on the week. That sounds a lot better than break even, right? So just having faith that today's not my most favorable day. I'm not going to force anything in this. Another thing we could do is just zoom out. This is on a Thursday, like I was saying. Go back from Monday. Yes, Monday was the big sell-off day, but it kind of set in the bottom. That since Monday, we've just been rallying higher highs and higher lows. So this did, in fact, create the higher low, but way later on in that day, because it's the higher low from the previous day and the previous day. What we could actually even do is turn on a lower day view up. I don't use that much, but let's put on a low week view up. Excuse me. Low of week. Let's make that yellow. You can see how well that respected all day, all week. That was the higher low painted there, the higher low in this afternoon on Wednesday, as well as that Thursday. So maybe that's keeping you long biased on the 15-minute side of things, which I was saying anyways. But the 1 minute's kind of telling me shorts. And also the 1 minute's not lining up for these long biases that I have, aka I'll come back tomorrow. and take advantage of this trend of the higher highs, higher lows, right? And now this is happening over the weekend as I'm filming this. We gap down. Boy, oh boy. But yeah, that was pretty interesting price actions. Hopefully no one got beat up too much. Hopefully you guys found some value in this of how I use the 15-minute chart, look at it ES and NQ. But the simple lesson of it is remind yourself of these markups. Do these markups, study these markups to remind yourself what you're looking for. What is the best play that if you have to even look at this chart and say, does this look like what I was normally studying and this are the trades that make me money? No. All right, then let me leave it alone. I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'll take this trade. This was just even another trade later on that same day. Clean trend. I bought this bounce earlier, that previous markup, new high, makes another new high, pulls back, breaks higher, another high because we're trending. There's a clear direction on the day. There's volatility in the day. There's no chop. We're not back inside ranges. We're in price discovery, making new highs every hour, every 30 minutes, right? So you want to maximize your gains on these days. These are the days that if you could stack up price action and trades like this, will get you payouts. If you force shorts and longs of shorts and longs, longs and shorts on days like this, you'll get burnt out. You'll have to buy new accounts. You'll be in the hamster wheel, unfortunately, for most people. And you're just going to be frustrated with yourself over the long term of getting beat up on days like this. That's tough for anyone to make money, in my opinion, no matter what the strategy is, because there's not a clear direction of who's in control. It's switching every 30 minutes, and it's tough to keep track of that. All right, so slow on down your trading. I only had, last thing here on the trades, I only had 9 days of trading in the month of January. Picking my spots, but I still made almost 5K on just 9 days, so like $500 a day. Keep it simple. If your setup's there, I'm going to take it with full risk. If it's not, I'll wait and I'll come back when it is. Stack green days, stack winning trades over the long term, and take some payouts. All right. So hope you guys found value in it. If you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Other than that, trade safe. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.